96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It is a beautiful day here in the 242. Beautiful because the sun is out in the sky today. Beautiful because it's another day to be grateful and thankful. Beautiful because it's an opportunity to get right some wrongs. Beautiful because when there's life, there is hope. So I am always joyful, optimistic that this is a new day, and I'm excited that all of us get to share it here on the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Special thanks to all of you who tune in online, who tune in, in your cars, using an app, using the radio. I am so grateful that you chose to tune in to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black right here on 96.9 FM. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We got a full show for you today. I think I'll start off the show with saying that COVID-19, beyond anything else, is a havoc wrecker, right? It is wreaking havoc on plans. It is wreaking havoc, I believe, on the government's plans. I believe that the government may have wanted to call an early election, but COVID-19 has put a wrench in those plans. And I believe that any predictions of an early election are going to be pushed back, because how can you call an early election when we are at 133 cases that are positive today? How can you call an early election when you have your citizenry who are sick because of a pandemic that was downplayed for a long time, this third wave, downplayed, who was sick because of our lack of good health, period, all the way across the board before COVID-19. But that is more so exemplified, that is more so magnified, that's the word, because of a pandemic. How can you call an early election when your citizenry is sitting outside on a porch that has been converted for a triage center for possibly COVID-19 patients? How can you call an early election if you have an economy that is built off of what I deem a mirage when we talk about tourism? Because these are numbers that are not committal. We're not going to have, how long are we going to have home porting? These are numbers or concerns that will be long driving factors. So I do not believe that the government will be having an early election. It seems as if every time, and if you recall, the Prime Minister, our good Prime Minister, our one Prime Minister, the most honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, has been, tooting his own horn in a sense before all of this calamity, in that, he was resolving this COVID conflict. The leadership of the Prime Minister, the leadership of the competent authority, but we are challenged again today. Listen, one of the challenges with COVID-19 is that it's here. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. COVID-19 isn't going to move. It's not going to leave us. It is how we handle COVID-19 that will determine, or that has determined if we are successful or not. On Friday, I think, or Saturday we had a 42% positivity rating. Yesterday, and yesterday, we're at 24.8 positive out of all of the numbers. So when we take all of our tests, 24, almost 25% of the persons yesterday were positive of that number. COVID-19 is a wrecker of plans. It's a wrecker of plans. There are many plans that we've had, many that won't go through. The challenge is foresight. One of the complaints or criticisms that I tend to get, and we in media tend to get, is all you guys do is complain. All you guys do is complain. And it's funny how when we quote unquote complained about the last administration. We were called the fourth estate. Yeah. And those who were in leadership said the same thing. It's funny how when we try to ask the questions that are not getting answered, we're called complainers or ungrateful. You won't win if you do this. You never win. It's amazing. That's party politics, but it's not policy. It's not leadership. Leadership requires that you anticipate problems before they begin. That's quality leadership. And it's not done by one person. One person can't have that level of foresight. A qualified leader, a great leader, understands that they can't see everything. They don't know everything. They don't understand everything. So that's why I find it suspect when we have the Minister of Health, who is woefully qualified for a situation like this. And I do believe that the Prime Minister understands. I hope he believes that he made a mistake in some regard in hiring Mr. Wells. Perhaps not for the fact that Mr. Wells is so good at saying yes, sir, but perhaps in just that the qualifications of getting it done, right? Like, can we get it done? Mr. Wells has said some things that have been, fact checked on the money, like on the minute he said it, but I digress. Here is where I have a challenge. When you hear the folks in press conferences say, in particular the Minister of Health, saying, listen, under the advice or through the advice of the health officials, and you wonder, ladies and gentlemen, I've spoken to health officials, and health officials will tell you, we should be testing more, quarantining more. And there was another thing. It was a three-part, right? It's a trifecta of work. And when they said it, it was quite adequate. I had Dr. Nikia Forbes, in essence, saying we're not doing what we should be doing, calling a third wave before these guys decide to make an announcement. We forced the hand of a press conference, Families were getting sick in clusters long before Friday's press conference. People were dying. We, on Friday, had 100 more deaths. On the Friday when the Minister of Health decided to speak. Where were they when it was 25 deaths more? Where were they when there was 50 deaths more? This third wave ain't brand new. And so when you see the hospital overrun, ladies and gentlemen, we knew the hospitals were going to be overrun. That is what you try to avoid, because when the hospital cannot see people, people will be sent home to die. That's what's happening. That's the real deal. All right, we got a full show for you today. I got a lot of stuff planned for you today. We've got at the 5:30, 5:40 mark, former Minister of Health, Dr. Dwayne Sands. We have also spa owners, businesses, owners of spa businesses, Mrs. Kenya McKinsey. Why am I fumbling right now? Mrs. Kenya McKinsey and Ms. Natilla Saunders. Ms. McKinsey is the owner of Baja Retreat, and Ms. Saunders is the owner of Skin Solutions. And they're going to talk about how they feel as if, listen, this is, in essence, in a way, the competent authorities' protocols are discriminatory against an industry where there is no data to support why they have been asked to close. And there's more than just them. These are spas that but then there are spa or massage therapists who do things at home, and they're told that they can't function. I'm curious as to that conversation. But before we get to that, I want to bring on the leader of a smaller party. I don't know what he would call it. Is it a third? We would obviously call it a third party. Third party options. And I'm excited to have him on. Very smart gentleman, astute gentleman, leader of the Justice Labor Party. I want to welcome him on the show, Mr. Ricardo Smith. Ricardo, how are you?
I'm great, Nahaja. I'm happy to be here. I want to say good afternoon to everybody listening. I just want to also say that I'm told today to make sure and compliment you. Mr. Vaughn Scriven told me that I must say that you are the most beautiful lady in the world. I just want to say that right away.
Thank you, Vaughn is my friend. He better say it. Apart from whoever Vaughn's a significant other is, he better say it. But it's good to have you on, Ricardo. It's a pleasure to have you on, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm happy to be here. And I heard you talking about the situation with COVID. It is most unfortunate, but this is something that we now know that we have to battle with. I commend Mr. Wells, and I commend Prime Minister Minnis on their continuous effort, and the entire government, the healthcare workers, everybody in the front line fighting and doing everything they can to combat this situation. Certainly, this is not an easy task for any leadership. People are going to complain, people are going to criticize, but you do the best you can. And after you've done the best you can, you're able to go home at night, and you're able to look yourself in the face, and you're able to say, I did my best. And I'm pleased with all that I've done, and that I'll let God judge me, And so at the end of the day, I want to commend everybody who is fighting, and I want to encourage Bahamians to go out there and get the vaccine. Do it. Let's do this. As a corporate effort, to help us to combat this COVID-19. And this third stream, I hear a lot of people talking about, hey, the party leaders, that the people should be vaccinated to go out and campaign and all that sort of stuff. Listen, you're a party leader, and you are dealing with in COVID-19 situation. Do you believe in vaccination? Say it. You don't? Say it also. All right. So at the end of the day, people could know where you stand. And the way how you know that if the persons are for it, you'll find that the persons who are walking with them, leaders lead. Those who are leaders will lead. And those who are not leaders, they cannot lead. All right. And so I say to persons who walk with me, you must get the vaccine. All right. Not just because I'm saying this to you, just look at all of the facts, and I'm so interested to know that people will argue and they will talk about things that, the Illuminati and people are trying to get you. They can kill you. They can do this to you. They can do that to you. And this is designed to mark of the beast. All these conspiracy theories at the end of the day. When you look at some of the very little things people do, endanger their lives. I mean, what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Ricardo Smith, leader of the Justice Labor Party. Okay, let's talk. Let's get folks to know a bit about you. First time on my show, Ricardo, so thank you for joining me today. We are beginning the process. I don't know if we're beginning. I don't know if we are in. It's a weird thing for me to say, but election season is coming, right? It is that time, right? So we are, that's it, eminent. Thank you so much for that word. So, interesting that you said your party will be ready. I wonder, are you guys, just for the record, do you have at least your team up front? Have you guys been vaccinated and are you ready to go? I guess based on what you're saying, yes. But
most persons have been vaccinated. More people we're trying to encourage to the vaccine. And that's the way that I roll. I'm 100% for protecting the citizenry, protecting people around me, and protecting myself and my family.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay, so then let's go to the next thing. Tell us a bit about your party. For those of us who are new to the Justice Labor Party, tell us a bit about it.
The Justice Labor Party is a party but really, it's a democratic organization. We believe in a free market economy. We believe that we have to ensure that we have a legislative agenda that really protects workers across the board, that there are provisions such as pension plans to ensure that workers in their twilight years can retire with a degree of dignity. We believe that, and I'm talking about a national pension plan. I'm not talking about this national insurance situation, but I'm talking about a national pension fund across the board that will be able to ensure that people have at least $1,500 per month coming in upon the time of retirement. And that is the bottom of the ceiling. That is the lowest end I'm talking about. We believe that there should definitely be provisions to ensure that as there is inflation, that pay increases come along with that, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't ask a fella to go into the food store with $80 buy $100 grocery. It doesn't make sense, right? And so we believe that there should be there should be consistent watch of the inflation, and we should know exactly at what point we need to jump in and ensure that workers' pay packets move forward, right? And then, of course, across the board, we talk about health insurance. We talk about national health insurance. We talk about medical insurance. Every worker in this country should have medical insurance on their jobs, health insurance, and protection against becoming disabled or having any industrial accident at their work. And I'm not talking about national insurance provision. I'm talking about real provisions to be able to take care of people who may have been injured and permanently retired because they can't work anymore, or become disabled because they can't work anymore. The fact of the matter is that we can't allow this to continue to happen in our country. And the Labour Party, the principles that we stand on will have us to fight for those very things. You know, I just want to jump in here to let you know, and I have to say this. I admonish people, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, to be ready to vote for new leadership in this country across the board. Do not go to the polls and vote for these 70-year-olds, these 72-year-olds who said that they would not be around at this time. It is shameful that persons like Fred Mitchell are still in the race. What are they doing there? It was him who said that to Lyndon Oscar Pinling, 65, 64, 65, he stayed too long, that he should have been gone a long time ago. And he and Alfred Sayers, I remember meeting them at Green Shutters back in the 80s, right? And they were on this crusade about how to get Finland must go and all that bunch of stuff. It is shameful. It is disgraceful that these men are on a ticket. I am admonishing Fox Hill, do this country a favor. To send this man who spent 30 consecutive years living off the backs of the Bahamian people. It is time for this 70-year-old man who should have grandchildren go home. All right? I admonish the people of Fort Charlotte to do the same thing that Mr. Sayers. Okay? He left us and he said that he was going to, and he was needed to make more money. Okay? Gone, you've made your money, goodbye. What are you doing back here now? Do we believe that you're coming to represent us, or you're coming to represent Fort Charlotte? Or you're coming to represent the people who you really represent? Right? And I'm saying this. I admonish Alfred Sayers to be honorable, be a decent man, step down from that nomination and allow young, decent people to move forward. You're 70-something. 70-something years. No, he represents the a certain sector of society. We know that.
No, okay? No, but hold on. You said two words that you've been repeating, and it made me smile and chuckle a smidgen, because I'm curious, Ricardo. What are you saying? You said young and decent. You're trying to, I had a grandmother used to say, "I like you because you're decent." Are you trying to imply that some folks being decent?
These men, listen.
We definitely won't go with young. We get you.
The first thing about being decent is that you got to at least try to live up to your word somehow, right? Look at it, man. These were the guys who lit the fire in young people. Sayers and Mitchell, these same two guys, lit the fire in young people back in the late 80s and early 90s and said, listen, we got to change this thing. It's time for Pinling to go, and all this bunch of stuff. And then, at 60-something, these guys should be, moving off the scene. But here it is today, after serving 3 times as a senator, Mitchell's third stint as a senator, 3 times as a member of parliament, 2 times as a minister of a government in the Bahamas. He, at the age of 68, 70 years old, is trying to re-enter. Man, Mitchell, I mean, listen, I understand that you want to serve. You can help some young person or some younger person in the community of Fox Hill. You can help some younger person in the party of the PLP become elected. You can assist them, and you can use your influence to be able to try and get some of the things done that you think need to be done. I think that you're spin cartridge. I think you are finished in this business.
But this sounds personal.
No.
This sounds a bit personal. No.
It's not personal. It's not personal. I just think that the dishonesty has to stop. I think that the dishonesty has to stop. Where this time would these guys be doing what they're doing, and there's nobody in the media challenging them, nobody in the public domain.
But let me ask you this, Ricardo, and I don't want us to segue too far off topic, because I want you to tell folks before time runs out about the party itself.
Right.
But it seems as if you're pinpointing two persons, but I'm sure that there are more persons who are older. And is this something that is about ageism, or is it something where you just believe that there should be a cap? Will the JLP put a cap on the age that a person is allowed to run?
This is what I will tell you that we will do. We will be true to our word, okay? And one of the things is that you can't have it both ways, okay? You can't say one thing, then do another, all right? And I believe that the media has allowed, just like Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Sayers, to get away. Now, when we talk about ushering a new era in politics, and finding trying to cleanse the politics and whatnot and so on and so forth, is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate that you would select as the leader of the PLP, probably the worst minister ever in the history of the Bahamas, right? Probably a man who headed the first scandal in the Christie administration in the issue of Bamsi. I mean, we, the Bahamas, are looking for something different. We're looking for something new. And I admonish the two boys on the block to understand that this election is going to be different. We are not going to tolerate this. Mr. 72 years or 80, however old Mr. Davies is, shouldn't be there. Okay, and there should be a younger person in the Progressive Labour Party. Part of their cleansing should have been to find somebody new to come to the forefront of the party. I would admonish no one to vote for the PLP. No one.
But you came out of the PLP. You're a PLP man. You're an FNM man at one point.
And I stood on the floor of the PLP, and I told the Progressive Labour Party I would not vote for Davis. I told them it was time to cleanse the party. I told them this. I ran against Chester. I told Chester, I said, Chester, you may be a good, decent young man, but you will tarnish yourself if you align yourself with Mr. Davis. Because when Davis goes, pack your bags, buddy. You must go with him.
I will say, it sounds a little personal here.
No,
that's fine. But hold on, let me ask you this. Hold on, I want to get to this only because it does sound, but I want to make sure we get some stuff said too, because I just give you a sense as to how I'm sure people are coming across saying, "Oh, it sounds like there's something there," but we digress, right? Here is where I have questions for you. You talk about the party in and of itself being, the Bahamians should look for different options. Right?
Yes.
How many candidates has been ratified by the Justice Labour Party?
We have selection right now of, I think this 24 was the last check, right? We have ratified, I think, in total of that 24, I think it's 7 or 9. Is it 9? That's it. 9 persons have been ratified. And I think that we will be looking to ratify a couple of Family Island persons that we want to bring in to ratify. And as soon as they're ratified, I think that we will announce the first 10 persons. and we will ratify some more, and then we will announce them.
Do you think you have so we're looking at 10 by the end of when? Sorry?
Uh, I should like to talk. I should have an opportunity to speak with the deputy sometime either today or tomorrow, so that we can see the. I don't know what's happening with travel from the family islands at this time, but certainly North Eleuthera and South Abaco, I think, definitely two of the. But they will have to fly into Nassau because we want to, do at least 10 persons together to invite the media and so on and so forth.
Okay. So you are the leader of the party, duly elected, I would assume. Of course, every small party goes through its own process, of course.
Yes.
But let's just make sure, so because someone will come out of the way and say this election was rigged. Oh, it was. I don't even have the energy for the internal workings of parties anymore.
Right.
Duly elected leader of the Justice Labour Party, and your position is that you will. Do you believe? Because of course, in order to run the government, you have to win the majority of seats.
Right.
What is the Justice Labour Party's position? If you only right now you don't even have 10 candidates, but you're working on it. If elections are called in the next few months, will you be ready to seat 39 candidates?
Like I said, I'm comfortable right where I'm at right now. I told the party's chair and the deputy that I was comfortable at 24. We didn't really have to go beyond that. We can form the government at 20. And I'm fine with I'm fine with narrow margins in there altogether. I have no difficulty with that, and so I am, I'm comfortable with 24. I know that some persons want me to go with the whole hog, but I mean, I'm comfortable where I'm at because I'm certain that we can form the government.
You can form the government. Do you think you have the tools, the wherewithal, the cash to win a campaign, to win over the Bahamian people?
Every day, I'm meeting with persons every day, and we're trying to make sure that the war chest is in place. You know what I mean? Just like yourself, Black, you should be on a ticket. You should be a part of the labor movement or the Labor Party, right? Because this is real transformative change. It is something totally different. Our philosophy is totally different from the two boys on the blocks. You know what I mean? And so, and we give an exciting new opportunity to new Bahamians. Persons who've never.
Give me an example. What are some of the exciting opportunities that JLP will be providing for Bahamians?
We asked one of our young candidates and head the program, should we be elected, Project Life, something I'm very excited about, which is a new inner city program that's designed to affect at-risk youth, right? That will give them an opportunity in their own environment to thrive. That we put the securities in place to ensure that all of the difficulties and challenges that they may have normally in the city would not affect this pilot project. Something that once it's done properly, that we would be able to carry it throughout the Commonwealth, the length and breadth of the Commonwealth and the Bahamas. It will involve many of the persons who have retired from teaching, police officers, from nurses, from the healthcare, from civic society, and to help to make the project work. We're talking about tracking necessary data, we be able to track, follow, to see what these kids are doing, what's happening with them, and to be able to ensure from in the morning they get up until they go back to bed, these kids have had a fair opportunity to be free of any kind of abuse, to live in an environment whereby we keep the bad boys away from them, we keep the bad stuff away from them.
Right.
And
Let me, and only because we're short. And only because we're short on time, we want to go to a quick break. When I come back, I want to talk to you about what is the JLP's plans. And I think let me ask this question, then we'll go to a break, and we can wrap up the segment here. But I want to ask this question before you go. What is the Justice Labour Party's plans for the economy? We are a country. Any government that comes in to power and service, rather, in the next election cycle will take on a country that its debt would be over 10 billion or more, who will find itself in a debt spiral with a bloated civil service, with sick Bahamians running around. We will have a health crisis, an economic crisis, an education crisis, all of the above. Where does the Justice Labour Party fit? What is the vision to instill or turn around the economy? Instill confidence to turn around the economy.
Certainly, I like I say, the what is happening now with home porting is really something that is boosting the economy in this time. Certainly, you can't leave tourism out of whatever you do or whatever you're doing going forward. We believe that we can create a construction boom in the country, a domestic construction boom in the country. We believe that we will be able to cause by one of our major planks. We believe through moving building a new prison, moving the prison from Providence to Andros, ensure that we have a construction ongoing, and by moving that particular government agency or department, we'd be able to create housing, create a new economy in that environment. We would also be able to cause major shakers and movers to become a part of that. And we believe that the construction, the relocation of various government agencies and other anchor projects in the families of islands will help us to continue keep this construction boom going. Private and public PPPs, public partnerships definitely will help us. We do not believe that we have done enough to get Bahamians to partner with the government. We have billions and millions and millions of dollars in credit unions. We have millions and millions of dollars in pension funds. We have millions of dollars just sitting around in here, Bahamian dollars, that are not being used. And we believe that if we can get those partnerships, we believe that we can stir some things up. At the end of the day, this money will be real Bahamian money working for Bahamians. When tourists go into Andros, instead of going into a store that's owned by a foreigner on Bay Street or whatnot, they will be spending money, putting it in the hands of Bahamians and whatnot and so forth. Definitely, we have to do a better job at trying to see if we can feed ourselves. That is one of the reasons why we're going to move the new correctional center to Andros, because we're going to help the farmers. We're going to make sure that they have labor readily available to them, because the inmates will be able to be dispersed through the various farms in Andros as we continue to hear of the labor costs that have driven them out of business or caused them not to be able to make the type of profits that they need. And so we will work very hard with some of these strategies, but we believe construction is going to be very, very important in trying to and keeping this turnover whilst we get the arms of the government to work for the Bahamian people. Tax reform is definitely the way forward. People can talk all they want. At the end of the day, tax reform is going to be a major part of what happens moving forward.
Okay, let's take a break. Actually, I have time, so I might as well just run through it before my producer. I think I have like 2 more minutes. My producer will just rile me, and we'll get through it. Okay, and I heard a lot of what you said, but what I didn't get was actual. And I don't know if it's because I get some good plans from some folks. Give me one. I hear you talk about subsistence. The home porting, these are topical issues, right? Topical that you can say, okay, listen, we need to keep home porting. Any strategy on how do you keep home porting? Do you guys have your financial advisor who can tell you how much it would cost to go into full-on subsistence farming, and that we would be able to really become, self-sufficient? Do you guys have any of those numbers where people will say, okay, these guys have a determined plan on these particular areas and issues where we can see the strategy for how it can be done, or not yet?
Well, I'll say this much to you, and I just want you to know that I spent some time at the AIC, so I know a lot of the small farm situation, and I understand, a lot of what it takes. I understood the plan that the former government was trying to implement in trying to take a bite of the billion, trying to ensure that we produce more of what we eat, and so I understand some of what is needed to do that. However, I understand that there must be a part of this discussion, the very competent and qualified people who have the expertise in the particular area. I'm not an expert in that area, and I am relying on very competent, qualified people. When I ask someone to speak at our conference on the financial matters or issue, I asked Gowan Bow. And I asked him because I know he is competent, that he's qualified, and that when he speaks, he can speak with the authority. People will listen to him and people will respect him. And from that same platform, I said, once I won the government, the Justice Labour Party won the government, I would name Gowan Bow Senator, Minister of Finance.
Is he aware?
I've already told him. I told him, I will name you. I will name you. I mean, he's not up right now, and I think, and I'm going to be fair to him, he is not interested either which way, right? He's not committed to any political organization as far as I understand it, right? I know a little about Gowan Bow, and I know if his country calls him, he will answer. He will answer that call. So on that same platform, I told him that there will be a permanent seat on the cabinet, the Christian Council, while the president of the Christian Council sat in the audience. And I will look to him, whether it's him or whoever from his grouping that he appoints, but there will be a permanent cabinet position for the Christian Council in the Bahamas. And the Labour Party, we will name, also sitting in the audience was the president of the Trade Union Congress, Ms. Dobie Ferguson, who I said, sir, upon accepting the invitation of the Governor General to form the next government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I will name as the Attorney General of the Bahamas, Ms. Dobie Ferguson, Labor attorney. So, I mean.
Last question before I go. In terms of the party itself, what constituency are you running? And are there any named candidates who my audience would know and say, "Oh, that's impressive"? Who do you have right now?
Well, I would say that.
First of all, what constituency are you?
I'm going in Pinewood. My deputy is good.
Tough seat, man.
That's what they say. Yeah, my deputy will go in Bamboo Town. A national chairman is going to Mount Moriah. The Secretary General is going to Marathon. Vice Chair will be going to Michael. Vice Chair for the Family Islands will be going to North Eleuthera. And then we will, I don't want to say much more. South Abaco. I don't want to say too much more because when we do
on the ratifications.
No, I don't want anybody to try and see if they can intimidate any of these persons. Because it would be very, very. And I'm certain that they know some of the persons who are moving around in the constituencies. I'm certain that they know.
Any names, but no one of like the public of like a larger name.
I mean, like I say, both of our candidates in the Family Islands have either served as chairman of the local government or deputy chairman of the local government. Both of them, right? That's no,
Yeah.
and so they're named in their communities. In Bamboo Town, I mean, everybody knows Leroy Albury. I mean, he has been very, very popular in the community of Bamboo Town. Everybody knows that, right? When you look at Vice Chair, particularly so Jamal Dean and Carmichael, he is definitely someone who has been very, very dynamic, very active. Don't know so much on the national scale. From that Carmichael constituency, he's going to be some tough cookie to deal with.
Thank you so much, Ricardo Smith, Justice Labour Party. Thank you so much, my brother. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Well, it was another, I thought it was interesting. I did think that it was a little personal there. Somehow, for some reason, Mrs. Smith wanting to pick on, I like Alfred Sears. I really do. I don't have a problem with Alfred Sears. I like Alfred Sears. I think Alfred Sears is a sharp man. People have their different feelings on Fred Mitchell, but I wouldn't go with age. Is that an issue? I don't know. I don't know what the age issue is. My God, at this point, I'm so used to like 100-year-olds doing their thing. It's fine. My mother's 75. Would I let her run somewhere? No, but that's because she ain't in politics. She would just run hot and deal with folks. But I don't see a problem there. All right. We've got to take a break. I've way past my break time. What do you think about the Justice Labour Party, y'all? What do you think about the Justice Labour Party? We got a lot of third parties out there. I think we are going to be splitting the votes. And I think there's going to be a lot of vote splitting, but that's fine. That's fine. If people want to vote, let them vote for whom they want to vote for. It's going to split the vote, and we'll see how it goes. Someone said somewhere along the line, you have to say goodbye. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We'll be back right after this.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good for nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. She always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send pictures direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas, then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
In
life, there are always challenges. Today, we find ourselves having to be more self-sufficient, socially aware, and technically savvy. At J.S. Johnson, we are committed to our customers by providing cost-effective insurance solutions. No matter what your insurance needs, we will always be here for you. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
The novel coronavirus disease, now called COVID-19, is a new strain of coronavirus that has not infected humans before. Symptoms include cough, fever, sore throat, breathing problems, and shortness of breath. After a person has been exposed to COVID-19, symptoms can appear between 2 to 14 days later. Severe cases can lead to pneumonia, severe respiratory syndrome, kidney failure, or even death. The virus is transmitted after being in close contact with an infected person. To prevent the spread of a respiratory illness like COVID-19, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap and water. Rinse, then dry. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth unnecessarily, especially if your hands are not washed. Cover your mouth and nose with your inner elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Avoid close contact with persons who are infected or have symptoms such as coughing or sneezing. Clean and disinfect surfaces at home and at work. There are no medications to treat the coronavirus. Practice preventative measures to ensure that you and your family are safe.
This message brought to you by Bahamas Ministry of Health in conjunction with Guardian Radio.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Want to say a special hello to everyone who's just tuning in. 5 o'clock. We've had an interesting guest just prior, leader of the Justice Labor Party, Mr. Ricardo Smith. Yes, fascinating fellow. Interesting party there for sure. My phone has been blowing up ever since. But we got an interesting segment for you, too. Now, of course, you know, COVID has been the leading story for weeks, but in particular last week when we finally got a press conference from the Ministry of Health after 100 additional deaths in country due to COVID-19. We just got confirmed 2 more deaths, a 26-year-old and a 70-odd-year-old, both males. And we are now, I think, at 284. So we are losing lives. People are losing families. We're losing nurses. We're losing healthcare providers. We've lost doctors. We're losing aunts, uncles, brothers, cousins, sisters, mummy. We're losing people. And this is a challenge. So, of course, we're looking for leadership in this time. And we had a press conference on Friday that was much needed. It was late for some, but it was definitely needed. But as many of these press conferences go, you walk away with more questions than necessarily answers. And when it comes to the COVID or the emergency orders, it is sometimes you're floored by how are the decisions made. One of the leading questions during this time is data. Where is the data? How do you know? Moving from 12 to 10 for curfew. How was that data connecting that difference, right? We need to do something. But the tools in which we've used before, the surgical tools, aren't so surgical. They seem to be very much machete-like. And one of the industries that I got to know why would be the spa industry. The spa industry, not last time, if you recall, and I fought for them to be open as an industry, it was the movie theaters. I wanted them to at least have 33%. You can't have a whole company falling apart. At last ones, gyms were right before that. I don't even remember them saying spas were open. Like, I don't even remember them having an announcement, but I digress. Maybe they did. I remember the last ones to open with those two, but now we have the first and the only told to close. Only told to close. Everyone else gets to mitigate. All right, spas. So I asked questions, and I have joining me now are two spa owners. These, and by the way, can I just shout out that two of the most renowned spas in country are owned by beautiful Black Bahamian women. I tell y'all, and y'all around here dollar whining, we could run this country, but I digress. I want to welcome, of course, a great sponsor of the show, and Sister Kenya Mortimer McKenzie from Baja Retreat, and also sister, a lovely sister. I call her, we blood all the way. I think we kind of sort of look alike somehow. I'm not sure. Natilla Saunders, owner of Skin Solutions there over at Cable Beach. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the Hit Back.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, here.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Listen, I'm happy that you're here because I have questions, but I saw a piece you did, Kenya, owner of Baja Retreat, on ZNS. And so I knew it was open season. So I asked if you could come on the show with me today. And Natilla, interestingly enough, you were featured in The Guardian today talking about the spa industry. So both of you women have spoken out and up with regards to the COVID orders, these emergency orders. Kenya, I'll start with you. The spas have been deemed closed. What has this done to your business? Where do you stand with that announcement on Friday?
Tragedy. I told the staff to prepare for another disaster. Didn't know which direction, but prepare for another situation that we may have encountered some form of closing. You always have to anticipate that, right? So, of course, the times that we were open, we decided, let's just make the best of it because you just never know. And it doesn't have to be anything that we particularly do, but others can affect the industry, the actions of others. And so we've lost tremendously from the last 4 months of being closed and just trying to get things going, and things seem to be going so well. And then all of a sudden we get slammed back down again.
Natilla?
It's pretty much the same, the roller coaster ride is it's a bit much. Last year we were closed for about a combined, 3-4 months, because the initial shutdown was about 3 months, and then we had to close down again, and then it's the roller coaster ride, the uncertainty. And it's not a good feeling because we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, what is going to happen today, because these things, they change in an instance, We've done everything to make sure that the experience of the guests, even our staff, because that's our priority. We need the manpower, but we've done everything to ensure the safety of our guests, our staff. Nobody wants to go home. Nobody wants to go home and take COVID to their family. So we've done everything. We had to take a certification. We had to do a certification last year. They claimed that they would come and do their checks and balances. I'm on Cable Beach. I have yet to have anybody come in and say, let me see what is happening here. Let me check to see if everybody on staff is certified. So it's discouraging. It can be discouraging. It can be very discouraging. And, there's no sufficient warning. We've done everything. We've gone above and beyond whatever the industry requires of us. We've gone above and beyond to make sure that the spa experience is a relaxing one, but most importantly, a safe one. And here we are today still being targeted. It's an insult that we are being singled out without the proper checks and balances, without adequate data to, justify their action. So it's frustrating because I understand the hotels are able to operate.
That's right.
So,
and, Nahaja, what Natilla said is correct. It's very tiring. And initially, we were sort of put together with, they seem to not know exactly which industry to include us in. So we sensed that uncertainty. So we were pulled with barbershops and salons. So it's like, okay, all right. And then like Natilla said, they said, okay, you have to do this certification. By the time they mentioned that this certification was a requirement, most persons in this industry went ahead and did either My Ladies, a barber side.
Yes, exactly.
That was already done. And, the certificate program was a joke in comparison to what we knew. But, we tolerated it. It's a very sensitive thing. We wanted to get back to work. So whatever they asked us to do, we were prepared to do. And then we were taken from barbershops and salons, and then we were put with gyms, right? So it's like, who are we? Right?
Wow.
So we're like a nameless group of people here, right?
Yes.
We're taken from gyms, and then we're put as spas, right? And then further persecution, right? But if any industry is going to go above and beyond, when you consider the cosmetology field, it would be the spa therapist, right? Because that is what we do. We work with the skin, and the skin is the largest organ, so we understand safety to a greater level. Not to say that the others don't, but that is what we're known for. Safety is what we're known for.
Yeah, and I think that I'm so happy we're doing this because it's curious that there was no understanding or knowledge of where to group you all, and now you're being shuffled. You said an interesting word. You used the word, Natilla, targeted. And I wanted to ask you both, because both of you have said, you've stood up and you've said very loudly, there is some form of injustice to what is happening with businesses deemed spas in this COVID time. Kenya, I want to ask you, and Natilla said it, do you feel as if, and both of you ladies, and I'd like your response, I'll start with you on this one, Natilla. You said the word targeted. Do you feel as if this one industry, because I thought it was curious, I won't lie to you, that only spas were asked to close, and they mentioned threading and wax. It was just very intentional, pointed, I think. Do you feel as if you're targeted?
I think we're being singled out. Maybe that equates to being targeted, but we are being singled out. And I think it's unfair considering that, there are no checks. There is no, this is what I'm thinking. I was thinking, when the association came to us and told us that we had to do this certification. Now, I'm very vocal. I ask questions. I'm not the type who somebody could come to and say, do this, do that. I'm not the rubber stamp type. So I asked questions, and they got offended by my questions and kicked me out of the group, I might add. Whatever WhatsApp group, they kicked me out of the group because I had the audacity to question them. What is the way forward with this association? What are the bylaws that govern this association? Because I want to know what I'm a part of. I want to know, moving forward, am I going to be protected when the competent authority says I have to shut down? I just want to know if I'm being protected. What are the things that govern this association? Because I had the audacity to ask such questions, they got offended. Some of the other members, they got together and they tag teamed me, round me, kicked me out of the group because I had the audacity to ask questions. I kid you not. So here we are now, and it's like we are fatherless, or we don't have any parents, in my opinion, to protect us from these things. And so, being singled out like this without a proper voice, it's very, very annoying. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get into trouble, because I know this is a sensitive topic, but I think it's unfair. Some of the standards that they have for us, it's not the same for other industries. We've been put through the ropes to open. It was extremely expensive opening as well. I can speak for myself, like things that I did to open to ensure the safety were to invest. I invested in an autoclave machine for my nail area and for tools and implements. That's something that doctors and dentists use to sterilize their tools and implements. We use disposable files. No two individual compass institutions can use the same files or buffers or brushes. And our clients take those home. So these are the things that I expected the government to
That's some audio issues.
even to have a body that is specifically assigned to inspect spas or other facilities to ensure that we're in keeping with all of the guidelines, the safety guidelines. Because these are the things that I feel as if we could move forward without shutting down any industry. If manpower is assigned to inspect, do random.
Something is going on with a little bit with your audio, so you're fading in and out. So double check your audio for me for a second. But I'll move to Kenya, so she can also check that out respond to that as well.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, Kenya.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Go ahead, Kenya. Your response to that. Do you feel as if you're being targeted?
Sorry. Pardon? Well, to some extent, I would say, because especially the aspect of threading, I don't know any other spa that do threading.
Exactly.
So for us, we feel that we're being targeted with that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at this industry, right? This industry is beyond what we do, right? It involves hairstylists, it involves nail technicians, it also involves makeup artists, persons that do microblading, micropigmentations. You have tattoo artists, you have
lash artists,
body piercing, lash artists. So for us, we only represent a small fragment of something huge, right? So if I were to put a number to it, we're like probably 200 versus probably a couple thousand, right?
Exactly.
So we don't have a problem. Closing isn't the problem if that is deemed the best solution, right? If that is deemed the best solution, but it's the fairness, right? So if we are going to be closed, then barbers need to be closed, salons need to be closed, persons who do tattoos and micro needling. I mean, all of these persons who do all these different things, right? You even have chiropractors who do massages. You have dermatologists who do facials.
Facials, yes.
Right? I mean, the industry.
So they're not considered spas. They're not considered.
Yeah, they're not considered spas, but then they do spa services.
Exactly.
Let me ask this question, ladies, because I know, I want to ask this question because the people will argue. Well, I mean, with all of this high transmissibility, should we be doing massages? Should we be doing, manicures and pedicures considered spa services?
Well,
not really.
I still need to figure out how to get these off.
That is the confusing thing right now here is trying to separate one set of services from the other, right? So you can find where salon services overlap into a spa. In a spa, we would do more of a deluxe style of services, right? So you can have manicures and pedicures in a spa, but it's the level of services that we provide for those treatments. You asked about massages. Well, in the US and the UK and Canada, these services are still functioning. It's how they're functioning, right? So from the very beginning, even though when we did the infection control by the Ministry of Health, right? Part of what they showed when you're doing a massage, I never saw a massage therapist wearing gloves, right? But from the very beginning, we decided. Now, again, I'm not saying everybody decide what they want to do. It isn't a requirement. That is just something that we decided to do because I said to my staff, they are very tough on us. We're going to go above and beyond so that they can't say that, hey, we are responsible for something. So when you come and you check me out, you're going to see that I've done everything that I was supposed to do. So if something were to happen, it isn't because I failed to do or failed to be responsible, right?
So then, Natilla, your thoughts? I mean, because that's the question people say, but this is, we're breathing air, right? This is a close contact sport. I'm questioning where's the data that says that, the spas have been big spreaders of COVID-19.
This is it. I'm waiting for it because
I'm waiting. That's what I want to find out.
I have yet to hear from any client who have visited us to say, "Hey, I got COVID from you guys." You know, it's troubling, honestly. With us, what we do with our massages, we request that the client keeps their mask on. So especially if they're lying face down, it is not required. But once they're face up, they are to keep their mask on. The only service in the spa that requires the mask to be off is a facial. But everything else, massage, manicures, pedicures, even waxing services, unless you're doing waxing of the lip or the chin, you take the mask off briefly. But I can't imagine if somebody is having their brows waxed or threaded, why is that an issue if both parties are wearing their mask, if both parties are protected? We go by appointments only as well. So there's not at any given point where the spa is overcrowded. You know, like we clean, we sanitize all the time. I've hired somebody full time to make sure that these things are done regularly. And again, nobody is going to check out establishments to see if they are operating within the guidelines, but to just close everybody down. I must admit, there are people out there who are not adhering to these policies.
Yep.
Okay, so they probably make it bad for us, but not all of them are closed.
And Attila, don't forget that industry out there is very huge, the unregulated industry. You know, there are hundreds of people that's presently doing house calls.
That's right.
Yes, you can go to their home or they can come to your home. So if you want to spread, I mean, that's the easiest way for something to spread because you don't know the environments that you're going into. So if you close Skin Solutions and you close Baja Retreat, then you leave our clients vulnerable to these situations. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you one situation that occurred with us because we were closed. Then what happens to your employees? They become very desperate, right? They need funds. They're scrapping for funds. So what they do? They take it upon themselves and go and service some of the same clients that was coming.
It happened. I lost staff as a result of COVID.
Okay, so when you're reopened, you have less clients, right? Those clients were taken. You know, I had to terminate an employee for the same reason because that was being done, right? But do you see the harm in that? Because now you have people now, okay, I am desperate, I need it. As a matter of fact, someone told me, I would say very important person in government told me that this is this service is essential to her mental health, right?
I'm sitting here. That's why we're doing the segment.
I need calling me because she needed. She said, "I need this." Right. So people need time. I mean, what else do they have to do? All right. The thing is, it's not the service itself; it's how you perform those services.
Exactly.
Right? And so we have to find a way to actually strike that balance. But if at this time there's some in the industry that have failed to follow suit, right? Tell her the reason why they probably didn't come to your place and didn't come to mine, maybe because they figure we're doing what we're supposed to do, right? I don't know. I'm just assuming so. But remember now, we are VAT registered business, right? So we pay business license, right? I just paid for the year almost 40,000. Last year, but 40,000. The year before that, 75,000. How much money in VAT and business license? How much of that are you getting from persons who's not registered? Right.
Exactly.
People who work and they're paying for booths and stuff like that. There's no VAT. So again,
it's very expensive. It's very costly operating a business and to be closed. To be honest, you know, because it's so it's a gray area in this.
Yes.
If they would just say this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So at this point, I am still open, but I am only doing the services that I'm allowed to do. Like the manis and the pedis. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. To keep going, let me ask you ladies this question. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. We've got Kenya Mortimer McKenzie, owner of Baja Retreat, And then of course we have Natilla Saunders, owner of Skin Solutions, both well-respected businesses, spa and salon.
Spa and salon. So it's still a gray area there, and it just makes no sense.
Let me ask you then. One of the things that I think about, so there are two questions, but one in particular, I'll start with this. I look at it from the economic standpoint of your employees, right? The majority of you high up, I think the majority of your employees are women, right? Mostly single women, single mothers, some married, but they all have a family. Yeah. I'm curious as to the demographic. Are they sole breadwinners during this time, most of them? Or do they share that balance? Because one of the things that we've learned in this country is that women are carrying the load financially for their family in more instances than not. I look at, to me, this is one of those things where I'm floored. Do we not understand that there are a lot of households that are impacted by these closures, that you shouldn't be willy-nilly? Why couldn't they mitigate? Are there any additional mitigation? Because other businesses have been allowed to stay open for 33%, like 33% for movie theaters. Salons have no restrictions. I'm not calling for salons to close, by the way. My hair just got done.
Yes. No, we're not asking anyone to be closed. I'm just asking that, it's the way we perform the service. Just, if you're concerned, just provide us with the data, right? Let us know, because I'm saying that if we are closed, then we need to know what is it that we did that deemed us being closed.
Exactly.
I would like to know that, right? Because then that allows me to make adjustments. But at this time, wouldn't I be the first to know that if there's situation? I mean, send me, right?
Yes. Let me fix it. You're a problem solver. You women are business owners. All you do is solve problems. You solve problems to adjust for your business. You would love to know what are the problems.
Am I contributing to the spread of COVID?
Yeah, that's the question.
Nahaja, was interesting because when spas were closed, I decided to peep into a barbershop, and half of the persons in the barbershop weren't wearing masks, right?
Right.
As a matter of fact, I'm happy that all industries, and I'm not against industries, everyone being closed, right? I'm not, right? We're just asking for fairness here, right?
Yes.
But just think about it. If you can go to a barbershop, if someone can go to a barbershop and get their beards trimmed, right? You have to remove the mask for that, right? What's the difference with someone coming to the spa and get, if you can get a haircut, right? And of course, which requires the hairstylist moving in the front, the side, all around you, right? So the hairline and the eyebrows are very close.
Yep.
And Kenya, at some point, the mask still has to be removed, even if the person is not grooming their beard to get behind hair. The mask has to be removed. So,
and just think about this, right? They also have they have tools. So a barber would use a razor, some type of razor blade, right? So that could be incisions into someone's skin, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what type of blades are we using? We aren't using blades. Are we told now to not use the methods that we've been using and let's switch to using razors and
even before, and this is the last question I have for you guys, you ladies, before we go. I think too, what was egregious to me with this decision was that hotels were allowed to continue doing everything. They had no restrictions, and we know that they have spas as well. So are they allowed to open? Is it that COVID can't be transmitted in the hotel and there are no behemoths that work there?
I guess local spas are, they're saying that are more infectious. We're responsible. Hey, we're dirty, we're nasty, we're responsible for the COVID cases.
Your AC ain't strong enough.
Okay?
What is
the danger of that?
And no local people work in the spas. I mean, come on, right?
Here's the danger in that, though. I mentioned unfair competition because locals can still enjoy spa services.
That's right.
Locals can still enjoy spa services. All they have to do, go to doctor's hospital or wherever, take the antigen test, and voila, go to the spa and enjoy a day of, relaxation. That's unfair to us.
As a matter of fact, I think if you're vaccinated, you don't have to do any of those tests.
No. Just walk in.
And we know that even if you're vaccinated, you can still get COVID and pass it on.
It
make sense, honestly.
So the key is, right? You said, how do we mitigate through all of this? Well, we need data, right? You can't fix no problem without the data, right? So we need to know, what is the data saying? Show us the data. Let's take a look at it. And let's make a decision, make a sound decision from the data.
Yeah. You want to add something, Natilla?
I mean, obviously, there is no information that justifies closing down local spas while you allow hotel spas to operate.
No.
None.
So there is none, because if there was a correlation between the spa and COVID, I mean, you could get COVID anywhere. But if there was a specific correlation between going to the spa and contracting COVID, then the hotel spas would cease operation as well.
Right.
And you know what is interesting, the hotels, and I'm not saying that they are presently using these services, but they have more amenities that a local spa won't have. They have hot tubs, they have steam rooms,
saunas,
they have saunas, they have all those things that requires more than one person in a particular area, right? We're dealing with persons on the individual basis, right? So it isn't like we have, people sort of group together more in a salon than they would group in a spa. I mean, you're going to spend a little bit more money coming to the spa than you would go to a salon, right? Yep. So you're not coming with a whole crew with you, and there's no waiting around.
Because we go by appointments.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so true. And that's one of the things that you know for sure with spas is that you go by appointments. It's a singular event. You go into your own private, and that's the escape of it. So I don't understand. And someone says, a fellow industry professional, Ms. Flowers says, our industry was singled out. The fact that threading was there. Threading, feeling very much so that they were speaking specifically to spas. Ladies, Kenya Mortimer McKinsey, Natilla Saunders, I'm Baptist, so I always got the last question, right? Like the last moment, and then we never wrap up. But if there is one thing you would wish that is done for your industry, your businesses, that you want those in power to hear from you, what would it be at this moment? And Kenya, I'll let you go first.
Well, we are professionals, just like doctors and lawyers. We are professionals. We are highly trained individuals. We know the work that we do. We understand the risk. We know where they are. And so just give us the respect that we deserve and, have conversations with us. Deal with the situation that we're constantly facing.
Yeah, Natilla?
I echo your sentiments, Kenya. And just to add to that, familiarize yourself with our industry. Get to know what we offer, because you have a lot of people who are making recommendations who are not spa goers. And if I'm only assuming that because they come up with these rash decisions. And if they understand that we are true professionals, we know what we're doing, we are doing our part to prevent the spread of COVID, just get familiar with the industry. Instead of making rash decisions and shutting us down, just get familiar with what it is that we do. Organize a task team, if anything, just like how they make certain provisions for cinemas and gyms to operate. Do the same for us. We deserve that respect.
Yeah. And I think respect is big, but it does seem very pointed. I'm sorry that the only one industry required to shut down. I'm trying to recall another in the emergency orders who was told to shut it down. Everyone else was given mitigation. They said spas. Y'all want thread and wax? No, shut it down. But the ones in the hotels are fine to do so. And I understand how many households are in your business that to do that isn't affecting just Kenya Mortimer McKinsey and Natilla Saunders. It's affecting tons of Bahamians across the way, and that is disappointing as well. Ladies, thank you so much. Kenya Mortimer McKinsey, owner of Baha Retreat, Natilla Saunders, owner of Skin Solutions. Ladies, thank you so much. Obviously, we need this whole thing to be dealt with expeditiously so I can get back to my.
Yes, we need to keep you looking beautiful.
Thank you, darling. Always.
Thank
you so much. All
Bye.
right, you're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Everyone, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dr. Dwayne Sands will be joining us. But these COVID orders got to make sense, man. They got to be equal. They got to stand with strength and make sense. You can't pick and choose. And this is one of the reasons why the competent authority is always under, I mean, you can eat inside in the hotels. You can't eat inside here. If you're vaccinated, you can do X, Y. Well, some of the vaccinated things have changed now. All of a sudden, you ain't free riding anymore. You're fully vaccinated. And the challenge is pushing vaccines where we still don't have enough. But I digress. You're listening to the Hit Back. We will be back right after this.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life's stresses. At Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa, you will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. I had someone send me a message that said, great show so far. Minus the part with the earlier guest. Listen, third parties need love, man. Third parties need love. Now, mind you, sometimes it's hard to love some, but third parties need love, right? And so let's show some love to small parties. I might split the vote, get no votes, who knows? But it's always entertaining to have to get different voices. Someone said, Nahaja, one thing I could say about Black, she'd let everybody on a show. That's something else. But we have, ladies and gentlemen, you know that today, with all of it, there's so much going on. And so we have to dive in. Right before the break, we had Natilla Saunders and the one and only Kenya Mortimer McKinsey, both spa owners, talking about the COVID orders. But right now I want to bring on my gentleman of business, the one and only, I call him the beige Negro, a member of Elizabeth, my good friend, Dr. Dwayne Sands. Doc, welcome. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing quite well. Thank you.
I just want folks to know now, you and I have transcended, talk show host, guest status. You know, you are by extension the lighter version of family. You know, the side where we didn't realize we had a beige uncle, and then whoop.
You see, you just find these things out later on in life, you know.
That's what it is.
But I'm proud to have you as my sister. No question about it. I want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Man, listen, it's a pleasure to have you on. Don't forget now, I hear the Sands legacy is long and there will be an extensive will. So if you want Carl's sisters, let's discuss being added to the will. All right, but I digress.
I got a dray load of children, okay? So, you know, after them, ain't much can be left. But anyway,
you ain't lying.
it is what it is.
Your brother with the dray load for Drew, as the good Shabba would say, trailer load, but we digress. Let's go on. Doc, it's good to have you on, my friend. Okay, recently, you and I, we're having these discussions, and I'm looking for the time when we have discussions now. That's good news, right? But today, we are being hit with sobering numbers, 133 positives yesterday. We've added 2 more to the death total. The Princess Margaret Hospital just had to set out a press release last night to explain why persons were outside on what is deemed the porch in during a rainstorm. That we are learning more and more. We've lost nurses, right? We've lost doctors. We've lost a young man at 26. So the ages are going down. This is seemingly, Doc, out of control. I wanted to ask you, when you see those numbers, when you see us moving into this 130, 100, and I think 100 previous and one something the other day, when you see these numbers as they're growing and dipping at some point, growing up a bit, what are your thoughts as someone on the front line?
You know, I hope and pray for my country, but I do have to tell you straight that it is probably going to get worse, and that we will probably see numbers hitting 200 cases a day. Certainly we are above May's death toll already, and the month is not yet over. And so based on the severity of illness of the individuals in hospital, and I pray that this is not true, but we have to speak in terms of statistics and actuarial predictions. It is likely that we will be in the 40s or even higher in terms of deaths for the month of July.
Wow.
Wow. And so the message that needs to go out is that this is not a respecter of anything, and that all of us now literally need to drop whatever political swords we have, drop whatever agendas we have, and we got to start fighting together to solve this problem, because it is going to take many more of us. Your brother, my brother, sister, cousin, auntie, etc. This is no longer an issue that we can afford any piece of politics.
I love that.
So let's understand, and I want to thank Shivargo Lang for starting this conversation today. We got to get on the same page. We all have to be on the same page here. And whatever I can do to assist, to guide, to help, I am prepared to do, because this country, if it is going to make it through this without having the type of Indian experience or Italian experience or New York experience, whatever you want to call it, then let's put down the arms, the political arms I'm talking about. Let's cut the rhetoric out, because it ain't helping nobody. And let's figure out how we can get some vaccines into arms. Let's figure out how we're going to convince people that are petrified or skeptical or cynical as to why this is not about Bill Gates and sterilization of colored people. There are some 12 major disinformation spreaders many of them in the US, and they account for some 65% of the misinformation about COVID, and they're making big money doing it.
Yep.
And a lot of us are reading that stuff and taking it seriously as they make their millions spreading this information to you.
If you're just tuning in, Dr. Dwayne Sands. So, Doc, I have a few questions for you. What we're seeing is that something you mentioned, and then looking at a 26-year-old dying from COVID, we're seeing younger persons getting infected and becoming, critically ill from this, from COVID. What is different? What's different? Is it just the Delta variant that we're not certain is in country? Is it a different strain? What is different now than before?
I think it's a combination of factors. I think it is the probability of the Delta variant in country, and the fact that there are a number of people who are in country that we are not testing. So we don't know, who is COVID positive. We have adopted a policy that we may have to revisit about individuals who are vaccinated not being tested to return.
That's right.
Because, just because you are vaccinated doesn't mean that you cannot be infected or that you cannot transmit the COVID virus. And so while it may have been or seem to have been a reasonable policy, this thing changes. And so you've got to recalibrate and recalibrate and recalibrate. No criticism at all to the decisions that have been made. I think what we need to be offering is constructive advice, supportive advice for what is a difficult issue to manage all over the world.
Let's talk about that's just concern. You have vaccinated persons. Someone just told me that, listen, vaccinated people are dying. So that is this, to this point where they're speaking, I know they're misinformed, that this is in the air though, that, hey, vaccinated people are dying just as much as non-vaccinated people.
That is patently untrue. It is not.
I wanted you to say it.
It is not so. And if you look, we've had some around the world, 3.8 billion plus people vaccinated. If you look at the vaccine adverse outcome registries in the United States and Great Britain and Canada, yes, there have been vaccinated people that have died, but they, certainly in the United States, less than 10,000. And you're talking about almost 200 million people vaccinated in the United States. Now, every single death is an unfortunate and tragic death. But if you look at the curves show strikingly that even in environments where the case numbers go up, the deaths have not gone up among vaccinated persons. Now, it is true that as you get more and more of your population vaccinated, more and more vaccinated people will have breakthrough infections.
Yes.
But the vaccines have been demonstrated to be now safe and effective out to a year. And, that's as much information as we have. You and I have engaged in a very, very candid discussion at various stages along the way. We haven't pulled any punches, and we're not going to pull any punches now. There are limitations to vaccines, but they are the best tool that we have in our quiver right now, and we should be using it. It is hoped in the Bahamas that we get some vaccines, some more vaccines, because as we see cases go up and the number of vaccinations went up and then it came down, now it seems to be inching up again. We need to talk to people, deal with their fear, deal with their concerns, be empathetic, be firm. I still do not support mandatory vaccination, not yet.
Yeah, no, neither. Not mandatory. Let us do our job. I don't believe, Doc, if you're just tuning in, Dr. Dwayne Sands, former Minister of Health, Member of Parliament for Elizabeth Estates, Elizabeth constituency. You can tell I used to live in Elizabeth Estates. Only subdivision that matters anyway in that constituency, but I digress.
Boy, I can tell where your families live.
You know it. So, but here we are now, Doc. There's so many other questions people have because I think in this discussion of the vaccine, wanting, needing to do a better job on assuaging concerns. And one day we'll do a longer segment on it because I want your thought on should the government do insurance of some form to help and give people some confidence that we will back your health if something happens. Quickly, your thought on that one as we're running out of time.
I think that ship has sailed. You know, we did it initially, certainly for healthcare workers who were the ride or die individuals who were prepared to serve their country early on before it was fashionable to do so. But, you know, that is a very, very difficult underwriting proposition with COVID now. And the question would be, where would you find the funds?
I was thinking the same thing. Right now with this, I don't know where we can find it, but
you're not going to find an underwriter anywhere that's going to be willing to take that on, not
at this point,
without a prohibitive premium.
Yeah.
So you know, it's the existing national insurance benefits for persons who might suffer from COVID that they got on the job, but really with as many cases in the community as we have verified, and then you need to multiply that by a factor of whatever, 3, 4, 5, there's significant community spread of COVID in the Bahamas.
Significant.
I listened to the commentary that this is all about importation and these tourists bringing us to us and so on and so forth. And it suggests that while that may be the case, that there are infected tourists coming in, we need to take responsibility for the fact that we have not adopted appropriate public health measures. We have stopped wearing our masks. We don't wash our hands. We don't sanitize, and certainly we right on top of each other.
Yeah, man. Oh, listen, these parties are a little much. These parties are a little much, Doc. And they're all in public, and I wonder if the COVID police are on vacation, but I digress. Let me ask you this question here. Ivermectin. I know of folks who've used ivermectin. I know of physicians who are, you know, dispensing of ivermectin. And to those who've used it that I'm familiar with, it has helped. It has helped them. But I wanted to get from you where people are saying that it knocks out COVID in 48 hours. I'm not sure if it's 48 hours, but I do know that
ivermectin is the new hydroxychloroquine or the new azithromycin or the new interferon. And let me say that the randomized trials that look at the efficacy of ivermectin in human subjects, there have been no good studies.
No.
There have been some recent studies that have been terminated for ethical breaches. And as of today, all you can say is it may be of benefit in some patients, but certainly it is not the cure-all that people are purporting it to be. Remember, we had the same conversation with hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, I don't know that's a cure-all for sure. It works complementary to a lot of other things. So it's not a one.
I hope that there is some scientifically valid determination that ivermectin works, but as of today, the 26th of July, at almost 6 p.m., the most I can say to you is it might work or it may not work. And please take whatever advice you're getting from whomever with a grain of salt, because they don't know.
Yeah. Something here, Nahaja, regarding Dr. Sands' comments about misinformation. To be fair, the CDC and experts have made very misleading statements about COVID and have gotten away with it. It seems like they can do no wrong. And if it isn't coming from them, it's misinformation, as if only they can research or deduce medical information. I think that that's a fair statement.
Plenty of people have messed this thing up. The CDC allowed itself during the previous administration in particular to become completely politicized, and they squandered their reputation over the last 4 years. And they are now hoping to rebuild their reputation as a preeminent public health agency in the world. But they screwed it up quite a bit. WHO, while it has gotten many things right, got some things wrong, we all have dropped the ball, screwed it up, put our foot in our mouth. And this is the nature of this thing. Sometimes you are making decisions on the fly, okay? And you think that you're saying the right thing or doing the right thing, and it becomes very important to stand up and say, hey, we got that wrong, and we apologize, let's keep trying.
Yeah. Dr. Dwayne Sands on the show with us on the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. Last thing here, Doc. When we talk, you mentioned briefly imported cases. One of the challenges that I have is that, and I think it's something that needs to be revisited, but I want to get your thoughts on it. Should we revisit having guests come in country without a PCR test coming in country? Is that something we should revisit?
Yes, I think we should. I think if you're going to revisit the COVID criteria protocols for Bahamians, there's no sacred cow. And there's a problem, I believe, that Bahamians have when there's one rule for us and one rule for them. This virus does not discriminate on the basis of nationality or origin. And I certainly think that you would get a little bit better, if not a lot better, adherence to the rules if people believe that there was one rule for all, whether that's testing or which businesses are allowed to open where, and so on and so forth.
Dr. Dwayne Sands, always a pleasure to have you on, Doc. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Dr. Dwayne Sands, Member of Parliament for Elizabeth Estates, my good Negro beige fellow, my beige Negro fellow. Appreciate He knows he's beige. He understands that's how it is. But always appreciate him, support him for sure. If I vote for one F&M candidate, it would be Doc. But I can't say that out loud. I didn't say it out loud. Y'all didn't hear that from me. Anyways, everyone, have a great day. Stay safe, please. COVID is out there. COVID is outside. It is in your community. This spread is serious. One of the things mentioned in the report that I saw this morning was that of the 133 cases, 9 had traveled. That's what they deduced, the Ministry of Health. 9 had traveled. So we have to realize that this is within the community. Anyone can have it. Please be safe. You're listening to the Hit Back. We're going to have a great show for you all week. We'll see you guys tomorrow, not next week. Everyone, take care. We're out.